For as long as I can remember, the story has always been the same. The Great Pyramid of Giza was this magnificent tomb for a pharaoh, a monument to the afterlife. But what if that's not the whole story? What if it was something else entirely? Something maybe more like a machine, built for a purpose we're only now starting to wrap our heads around. So let's just dive right into one of the most compelling and, frankly, mind-bending theories in history.
And right there, that single statement, that's our starting point. It basically throws a wrench into everything we thought we knew about this ancient wonder. And it forces us to ask a really simple question. If it wasn't a tomb, then what on earth was it?
Okay, so before we can even begin to build up a new theory, we have to see where the old one, well, where it kind of falls apart. The tomb theory is what's in all the textbooks, right? But when you really start to look at the evidence, or more importantly, the lack of evidence, the whole official story starts to unravel, and fast.
Now, this is where it gets really weird. Think about any other Egyptian tomb you've ever seen pictures of. They are like treasure chests, absolutely covered in intricate art, hieroglyphs that tell the life story of the pharaoh, and, a mummy. But the Great Pyramid? It has none of that. Zero. The sarcophagus they found was empty. No treasures, no artifacts, nothing. The walls are completely bare. It feels less like a tomb for a god king and more like, a functional industrial building.
So the inside is a total mystery box with nothing in it. But the outside, wow, that's a whole other story. It's an absolute miracle of engineering. The people who put this thing together demonstrated a level of precision that just seems impossible for that time period. Let's really look at the numbers here.
Okay, just let this sink in for a second. Each side of the Great Pyramid is longer than 2 football fields. And across that massive distance, all 4 sides are within just a couple of inches of being perfectly equal. That's an accuracy of 99.98%. Seriously, even with our modern lasers and GPS, that would be an incredibly difficult project today. So how in the world did they pull it off thousands of years ago?
And it gets even stranger, because the pyramid's very dimensions seem to be a precise scale model of planet Earth. It's like this. You take the pyramid's height, you multiply it by a specific number, 43,200, and what do you get? You get the Earth's polar radius with almost perfect accuracy. You do the same thing with the perimeter of its base, and you get the Earth's circumference. This doesn't feel like a coincidence. It feels like a message, written in the language of math.
So not only were the builders incredibly precise, they were also incredibly picky about their materials. They quarried this specific type of limestone, which happens to be a great electrical insulator, from 500 miles away to cover the outside. And for the inside chambers, they used rose granite, which is packed with quartz crystals, a material famous for conducting electricity. Why would you go to all that insane trouble unless those specific electrical properties were absolutely essential to whatever this thing was built to do?
And all of this, the weird materials, the insane precision, the empty rooms, it all points to this one mind-blowing idea, proposed by engineer Christopher Dunn. The Great Pyramid wasn't a tomb at all. It was a machine, a gigantic power plant designed to tap into the natural energies of the Earth itself.
Okay, so let's walk through how this thing might have actually worked. First up, vibration. The pyramid is built on top of underground water channels, or aquifers. The theory goes that it was built to capture the natural vibrations from this flowing water and channel them up into the structure. Next step, pressure. It's thought that a chemical reaction in the lower chambers created hydrogen gas. This gas would have filled the Grand Gallery, building up immense pressure. And that pressure squeezed the quartz-rich granite, which leads to the grand finale, energy. All that mechanical stress on the quartz would generate electricity. The whole pyramid was even tuned like a giant musical instrument to resonate and amplify that energy. It's wild.
And the science behind this? It's something called piezoelectricity. This isn't some fringe idea. It's a real, established scientific principle. It's literally how the little sparker on your barbecue grill works, and it's how quartz watches keep perfect time. You squeeze a quartz crystal, and it produces an electric charge. Now just imagine what would happen if you could squeeze the millions of tons of quartz inside the Great Pyramid.
And get this, modern science is actually starting to catch up to this idea. A study back in 2018 discovered that the pyramid's unique shape can actually focus electromagnetic energy, things like radio waves, into its internal chambers. Now, that doesn't prove it was a power plant, of course, but it does confirm that this structure has some seriously strange energetic properties that we are just barely beginning to understand.
Now, this whole idea of harnessing the Earth's energy and transmitting it wirelessly, it might be starting to sound a little familiar. That's because a modern genius was working on the exact same thing just over a century ago. The one and only Nikola Tesla.
And when you put the two side by side, the similarities are just stunning. I mean, it's uncanny. Both were built over aquifers to tap into underground energy. Both were designed to use the natural resonance of the Earth. Both used metal conductors. And both had the exact same goal: to transmit limitless, wireless energy. We know for a fact Tesla's tower was a real project. So the question is, could the Great Pyramid be its ancient blueprint?
But Tesla's vision of free energy for all, well, it never happened. His financier, the banking titan J.P. Morgan, had a sudden realization. If energy is free and wireless, his entire empire, built on copper mines for wires, coal mines for fuel, and traditional power plants, would become worthless overnight. So, he pulled the plug. It really makes you wonder, if the pyramid was also a source of free energy, did a similar fate befall its creators?
And that brings us to the final and maybe the most profound question of them all. If the ancient Egyptians from 4,500 years ago didn't build this incredibly complex machine, then who did? And where did they go?
This is where the official timeline just gets completely blown apart. We're told the pyramids are about 4,500 years old, but astronomers have pointed out something incredible. The entire Giza complex perfectly aligns with the constellation of Orion, not as it looks in the sky today, but as it looked 13,500 years ago. This pushes the date of construction all the way back to the end of the last ice age, a period of massive global upheaval.
And the evidence for some kind of huge global cataclysm around that time? Well, it's everywhere once you start looking. Geologists point to the Sphinx, which has deep erosion patterns not from wind and sand, but from thousands of years of heavy rainfall. Ice cores from Greenland suggest the last ice age may have ended violently and catastrophically, not gradually. And then there's this melted, glass-like rock found all over the world, hinting at some kind of massive heat event. On top of all that, almost every single ancient culture has a myth about a great flood that basically wiped the slate clean. Could there have been an advanced pre-Ice Age civilization that built all this, only to be completely erased from history?
Ultimately, what this whole theory suggests is that our understanding of the past could be completely fundamentally wrong, and that maybe, just maybe, the key to a very different future, one with clean, unlimited energy, has been staring us in the face this whole time. It really makes you wonder, if the blueprint has been sitting there in the desert for thousands of years, why are we still fighting wars over oil and burning fossil fuels? What are we missing?